こんばんは。こんばんは。こんばんは。こんばんは。こんばんは。
ちょっと待って。音量消して。自分の配信が見れない。ジャスティスたくみさんいらっしゃい。りょまいらっしゃい。こんばんめ。はてなさんもいらっしゃい。サンズアンダーペイルさんもいらっしゃい。
正門超えます。
あおじさんもいらっしゃい。こんばんは。聞こえる？よかった。やべえ。今回からね、新しいゲーム、とりあえずなんか、長くできそうなもので、好みっていうかやりたいなって思うのが、とりあえず今のところないから、今まで土日にやってたようなね、短い私好みの雰囲気ゲーやっていこうかなって思って、今回はこのザ・ファーストツリーっていう、キツネちゃんが森旅すんのかな、子供がいるってことは子供守ったりすんのかなみたいな感じのゲームをやっていくでござる。カノンさんいらっしゃい。にゃんちゅうさんもいらっしゃい。じゃあやってこう。さっきからさ、このタイトル画面の音ずっと聞いてるとさ、たまにね、ブッブってね、蜂っていうかハエみたいな音が
チームでも出てたやつかな。
すごい。
キツネが旅出るやつ。どんなゲームだろう。
多分そうだと思う。PS4 で買ってから、なんか後で Steam 覗いてたら、あれこれ、わしが Steam で買った、Steam じゃない、PS4 で買ったやつじゃねってなったから、多分そう。クソザ高スペックのパソコンなんでね、こういうのが PS4 にあるのはありがたいわ。ね、こういう綺麗なゲームかドットのゲームがすごい好き。こういうのだとさ、BGM とかも期待しちゃうよね。キツネって冬眠すんの？もう動かせんねんけど。はい。キツネは。
I thought I heard you get up.
Yeah, I'm awake. Sorry, I just can't sleep.
Are you thinking about him?
Yeah, a bit. Usually get back to sleep, my love. I'm fine.
No, it's okay. What else is on your mind?
I don't know. It seems weird, but I had one of the most vivid dreams of my life. I saw a fox on a snowy mountain, just looking confused and worried. Those eyes. I can't get those eyes out of my head. She was running in the windy snow, looking for something.
Do you think it has to do with you and what's been going on?
I don't know. It was just a dream, Rachel. They're not meant to make sense. A lot's happened the past couple days, that's all.
Well, if you're not going to sleep anyway, you should tell me. I want to hear.
放り出された。でも待って、これ餌取ったりしなきゃいけないとかあったりするのかな。
こんばんは。
だったらもう死にそうじゃない？ねこめさんいらっしゃい。わしは何をすればいいの？とりあえず食べられるもの探そうぜ。よく分かってないけど、木の実とかない？ない。進めない、見えない壁がある。飛び降り自殺はできないと。
オプション見てみる。
それだ。あ、字幕。字幕とかあったじゃん。字幕欲しい。字幕はね。解説モード欲しいな。マウスじゃないんだけど。終了する。終了。よろしいですか？はい。そういう意味の終了か。待って、メニューメニュー画面をもう終わると思ってやっちゃったじゃん。まあもう一回ね。もう一回見ればワンチャン字幕見れるんじゃないか？
始める前にオプション見ないとね。わら。
それな。癖がないんだよな。始まったら瞬間に。
Hi, my name is David Whaley, and I'm the creator of the first tree. I also voice a character named Joseph. So I just wanted to introduce you to this commentary mode. Tell you that you can find interesting things about how I made this game by touching the speech bubbles you see in the world. So I hope you enjoy it.
字幕ってやってるのに字幕出てこなくない？場所が悪いの？わからんっていいの。
Are you awake? I thought I heard you get up.
制作者っぽいコメントが。タメちゃんにもわかりやすく説明して。
本当だよ。単語単語。
Are you thinking about him?
Yeah, a bit. You should get back to sleep, my love. I'm fine.
No, it's okay. What else is on your mind?
I don't know. It seems weird, but I had one of the most vivid dreams of my life. I saw a fox on a snowy mountain, just looking confused and worried. Those eyes. I can't get those eyes out of my head. She was running in the windy snow, looking for something.
Do you think it has to do with you and what's been going on?
I don't know. It was just a dream, Rachel. They're not meant to make sense. A lot's happened the past couple days, that's all.
狐なので2段ジャン
Well,
プ
if
でき
you're
る。
not going to sleep anyway, you should tell me. I want to hear.
ヒュヨヨヨヨンって尻尾がさ、ヒュヨヨヨンってなるの可愛くない？知らなかった。狐は2段ジャンプできるんだな。
So it's usually at this point where people say something like, "This is not the kind of game I was expecting." And that happened a lot at PAX West. When I showed it, we'd have little kids play it. But then they see a dead fox cub. Or kit is technically the word, but cub sounds, I don't know, it sounds better. Like Wes Anderson uses it in Fantastic Mr. Fox, so I thought cub would be alright. But anyway, having this game, I wanted it to be more serious. This game is based on dealing with the death of my father, which was the hardest thing that's ever happened to me and my family. But I don't want to talk about it here, and I didn't want to talk about it with anybody really. To this day, still, it's very personal, and that's why I made this game. That's exactly the reason, because I wanted to get those feelings out and like communicate with people without like talking about it. And so that's what the first tree is. It's me dealing with my feelings, and it was a personal project, and it was just me, and it actually, like, I'm really glad I made it, but it wasn't easy to make, I guess is what I'm saying. So, not far from her home, she followed that path to something unexpected. She couldn't stay, though. She had to find her other 2 children. So she took that path. She followed it towards something ancient. Something with answers, high and low, searching for any sign of the cubs. Points of light showed the way to this ancient tree. It was as if each one had a story to tell, all their own. The land was trying to tell my story too. I felt like I was right behind her the whole time.
まあなんか狐のお母さんが子供たちを探すゲームをやってるよ。これ食えんじゃない？めっちゃ似てんじゃん。食べさせてー。
The bunnies were added because my wife, Elise, who also voices Rachel in the game, who's also helped a ton to make the game, as we were playing, she just said the world felt kind of empty and not alive enough. So I knew we needed to add some kind of life. And so the bunnies was like the first idea that came to mind. And like most of the game, I used like publicly available assets to speed up production because I was working full-time along with making this game, and we just had our first baby, a little girl named Evelyn. So I was messing with this asset called Herd Sim, and at one point, like the generation script that creates variations of the sizes of the bunny. One time I got out of control and it made like this monster bunny that towered over everybody, and I shared that. Definitely gain an audience for this game, but it's hard because this game is like so serious. It's about life and death, not giant bunnies. But I knew I needed something, like a shout out to that, because it was pretty fun. So if you're able to catch all the bunnies on this map, I think there's around 13, then you'll get a special surprise. So good luck.
これどこでさアクションができるのかわかんないね。グッドラックって言われたね。 マジ鳥にも怖いのか。鳥の影があるのに鳥が見えないのが怖いんだよ。どういうことなの？さちゃんどこだっけ？さちゃんどうやって食えばいいの？上地にして終わりになりそうなの。絶対今触れてた。食えないのかな？そういうわけじゃない。ウサギは友達だったの？そうだとしたらごめん。
こんばんはでございます。
ヤンデレさんいらっしゃい。いまいちわかんないよ。キラキラめっけ。よいしょ。高い位置が高いわけではない。よくは使ってる。結構これ自由に周りをトントントントントントントントン走ってればいい。乗らねえ。そこも一旦光っちゃる。光は気になる。よいしょ。これはホリホリ。
Do you remember what my dad did for a living?
Wasn't he like a lumberjack?
That's one way of putting it. If wood was a canvas, then a carving knife was his paintbrush. Even after working a 50-hour week, even after his hands were more splinters than skin, he would bring home the nicest piece of Alaskan weeping cedar and make me toys. That wooden train was the first toy I can remember, and I loved it. I just knew from a young age I was going to be a lumberjack, like my father.
Run! 進んでるけど大丈夫かなこれ。この光を集めてると何なんだろう。暗くなったんだけど。何急にムービー。小狐見つけてないし、なぜ場面が変わったし。どういうことなのこのゲーム。
暖かくなった。
これで餌がいっぱいありそう。どういうことなんだろう。今歩いてただけで
季節が過ぎたのかな。
マジで今歩いてるだけで3ヶ月間ぐらい過ぎたの。早くないこの世界の時間の進み方。びっくりなんだけど。なんかここにある。左側もどうやって登るのかな。ここから回ってくるのかな。
My teenage years were full of sketching, angst, and trouble.
将棋詰は置いてきた。この先の戦いについてこれそうにない。
I guess that gave me a sense of freedom. So I hung out with crazy kids, doing crazy things, even though I mostly just watched the chaos ensue. We did it all. Put fireworks in mailboxes, hide roadkill in people's garages, break windows of the barber shop in Anchorage. My dad was furious, but he was so busy working he couldn't do much to stop me from going out.
I think being an adult means there's no one to stop you making hard decisions. He had to make a living, and he couldn't be in two places at once.
Yeah, I realize that now. But at the time, I was sure he was more interested in growing his business than what was going on with me. I always wanted this game to be very meditative and relaxing, but I know there's a balance between keeping the player's interest. So I added this butterfly jumping mechanic just to spice things up. I used a plugin called Playmate for Unity, which in a visual editor lets you do interactive things, which is perfect for me because I do come from a film and design background. But on the flip side, I really wish I was good at code, because this jumping mechanic, the jumping mechanic in the whole game actually has frustrated a lot of players. But hopefully I've been able to fine-tune it, so it should feel a lot better now. I would just hate that this meditative game would get frustrating, so I've definitely I've lowered the gravity, I've made the jumps more consistent, so hopefully people can just focus on the world and the story.
キツネが空を飛べるわけないでしょ。
すごいな、長女の力借りればキツネ飛べるらしいよ。びっくりだわ。どこ行ったら進みそうとか結構わかんないよね。
キツネとは別なく。
And my friends were over, saying how bored they were and how they'd come all the way out to my house for nothing. One of them mentioned how that old spin. I was only 15, so I kind of fought it for a while.
今更だけど BGM でちょいカメちゃんの声聞き取りづらいかも。
Rocks spitting onto the
音
sides
声
of
が
the
ない。音声をいじるところが
while
な
my
いよ。
dad's cringeworthy bluegrass blared out the speakers.
しかもこ
I
れどこで
drove
セ
while
ー
my
ブされ
friends were
る
in the
の？
back of that yellow and purple truck, throwing beer bottles and trash at anything remotely interesting. Felt like I was soaring in the air with
セー
borrowed
ブポイントわ
wings.
かんなくてまた最初からだったら
But all
さすが
good
にへ
things
こ
have
むんだけど。
endings. A cop outside at Eagle River pulled us over after he saw us send a bottle rocket into someone's yard. What followed was a long
じゃあ仕方ないね。
あ、いえいえいえいえ、
night of talking to disappointed adults
次のゾーン
and
に
feeling
来
smaller
た
than
ら
ever.
戻って音下げるか。あ、いっと。で、長女もらって。せーの。オッケー。ほいっと。ほいっと。ほいっと。だいたい子狐どこに置いてったのって感じだよね。あ、落とさないでやめて。いやー、お願い。よし。なんかいまいち二段ジャンプがね、つかめねえんだよな。めっちゃ情緒だー。落ちれる落ちれるー。すごい壁を走るキツネ。うわー、死なない。すごい。でも正直どこ行けばいいのか謎すぎる。どうするってどうするんだい。どこ行くんだかな。こっちかな。蝶々いっぱいね。めっちゃ蝶々引き連れてるわし。すごい。
You may have noticed there's a little pond here, and believe it or not, I tried everything I could to get swimming working in this game, and I just could not do it, unfortunately. And so all the water in this game you can just stand in, which is, it still like bums me out, but the systems were not working, it was buggy. So I just had to throw it out, which, you know, I think it's okay. Like, I wish it was there, but again, the focus of this game is on the story.
どうしよう、ここじゃあジャンプしないといけないんじゃん。しょうがない。蝶々にさよならして。あー、使っちゃった。どういうこと？わかんねえ。次行くべき場所が。行くべき場所がわからない。迷子だよ。 迷子。ベリベリのベリベリに迷子。あ、そこのところジャンプしていくのかな、もしかして。だから先のやつを先に取って3つ重ねていくんじゃないかな。すごい暑い。最近クーラー生活してるからさ、28度でも余裕で暑く感じてしまう。今私のロフトは28度なんだけど、でごめん、あそこの石の向こうだよね。向こうっていうかこれジャンプしないといけないんだっけ。ここから登れ、ないね。ない。おおおおおおお。こんなところにもあるのか。とりあえずあそこの岩のところ行くか。
そろそろクーラーと外との温度差でやられちゃう季節ですね。
ねえ、やだー。一生部屋の中で過ごしていたい。これ飛べるか。やっぱり3つ必要だ。どうやって持ってくればいいの。
こんばんは。
順いらっしゃい。ちょっと待って、全然わかんないんだけど。だってあの滝のところのやつだって取れないでしょ、ジャンプしなきゃ。どうやって3つも取ればいいんだ。あ、わかった。あそこから落ちてあそこに行くんだ。もうあそこしか行ってないけどだな、登るんじゃなくて落ちるんだ。これで多分次のステージなんじゃないかなと思われる。冬、これ夏かな。冬、夏と来たら次わかる。秋で、多分ここからこう落ちて、オッケー。んだな。
My friends would laugh about that
よかっ
night
た、進んだ。
and talk about how crazy it was, and I laughed along, pretending it didn't bother me. But it did.
あの夜のことって
I
全然
imagined my
文章読ん
friends
でないから
growing old in
全
the
く知ら
bush,
ない何があった
unable
ん
to
だろう
find
ね。
that thrill in those godforsaken ice fields. It's like those mountains were a literal wall, keeping me from leaving, where all I would have to look forward to are lumber yards and evening beers. I had to climb over. That was my only goal for a long time.
やった。あそこに行けばいいのかな。なんか落ちちゃうのもったいないんだよ。これじゃほいほりほり。
If there was some way I could take my love of
こんばん
drawing
は。
and turn it into a way of escape,
GZZ さんいらっしゃい。
nothing would make me
今こ
happier.
の母親ゲツネ
I
の
wanted
子
to
ギ
create
ツネを
instead of
探す
tearing
らし
trees
い旅のような
I wanted to move to the lower 48, not because I hated it there in
迷
Alaska,
子。
but I hated the idea of it.
ギツネと一緒
It's
に迷
like
子
all
の
of
な
that
ろう、迷
spite
子に
inside
な
me
ろうっ
had
て
created
いう
this
ゲーム。
monster which followed me around my whole teenage years.
あれは光じゃな
I
くてただ
put
の
so much
光
energy into doing what others didn't expect of me. Why did I do that?
There's one fact you're forgetting, though. If you didn't have that fire in you, we probably would have never met.
すげえ葉っ
You're
ぱが生えて
absolutely
く
right.
る。
Maybe the destination is all that matters in the end. But then why am I awake? Why am I seeing this fox go on her journey? And why can't I
なぜ
stop
この
thinking
キツネ
about
の
my
旅
dad?
路を見ているのかな。完全に迷子になってるだけなんだけど。ほんとどこでセーブされるかわからなくない？右下に何のマークとかも出てないよね。まずロード画面すら、あ、暗くなった。 こでセーブだと思うんだよね。おし、綺麗だね。じゃあ一回終了して、で、設定、設定がこれしかない。うーん。じゃあ、私のマイクの設定を上げてきます。設定あれしかないんじゃんねんな。これ、大きくないね、なんでだって、わしのディスプレイの音下げたって、わしの聞こえる音がちっちゃくなるだけで、みんなの音がちっちゃくならへんべ。とりあえずマイクの音上げとくけど、そんな変わらないと思うんだよな。とりあえずこのぐらい上げときます。多分足が大声だったら出したらすごいもう余裕でギャーってひび割れるぐらい。いや、これ切りがわからないね。切り時が。次、このステージクリアしたら今日は終わりにしようか。わかりやすいといいな。緑っていいよな。オープンワールド。
I did want to do something a little different with this level. I wanted it to be more open world feel, and that there was something blocking your progress. So it did encourage people to look closely and see how to unlock this blocked way. And I do like just walking around this level and listening to the beautiful music by Josh Kramer. His work really sets the mood for the whole game.
左耳からブンブン聞こえる。やだ。虫って遠目から見てるのはいいんだけど、自分に近づかれるの本当に嫌なんだよね。ほりほり。
My dad built a lot of stuff in his free time.
たくさん
If he
の
wasn't watching fly fishing or reading Tom Clancy novels, he was carving
カメラ
something.
じゃない。
He made tons of birdhouses. Not that he was into bird watching, but I think he really missed working and adding on to the home. If he couldn't afford the time to build onto our own house, he would have to settle with watching birds move into their little homes. We kept an old mattress in the bed of that ugly yellow truck, so we would drive it deep into the woods and then watch the birds fly into their houses while the sun set. Usually it was accompanied by venison jerky or a cold Coke, but not a lot of talking, which is how we both liked it. Earlier I said I just love going through video games and exploring, like looking at every nook and cranny and just trying to find little details. And I think that started because in middle school and high school, I would make mods for my favorite games, namely Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast, and Far Cry. And I loved like this huge world of mod makers who would make these levels and it'd be like the most random creative things, and I would just love exploring, usually multiplayer levels by myself. So even though I went to college for film, before that, like before high school, I was making video games and mods, and it was my favorite thing in the world. I made a ton of different levels. I made an abandoned space hotel with a dance floor and cafeteria. I made a haunted campground with cabins and tents. I made this whole city with like the first ever day-night cycle with running showers and stuff in the hotel and the apartment buildings. And I just loved making those mods, and I think that carries over to my game, The First Tree, and also the one before that, Home is Where One Starts, which is it's exploration. You're just looking around and appreciating the details. We were happiest underneath the evergreens. We decided it was time to finally map out the hundreds of acres we lived on, just to pass the time during the summer. He was only free in the evenings, so I would spend the day wasting time on dial-up internet and sketching. And then we would rush into the woods, pen and map in hand, before evening fell. Sometimes the aurora borealis would cast a cold green glow on the mountainside, and we would finish our route underneath the twilight sky. Sometimes I was lonely during those summer days, but there was comfort in the routine.
A lot of teenagers aren't looking for the daily grind, though. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get out, to leave your childhood home. You wanted to progress, to make something of yourself.
Yeah, you're right. That house. I'm sure it's the same as how I left it. But then why does it feel so different?
I doubt you're the only adult to have looked back and asked that question.
日本語版が待たれますね。
ねえ、どうせならさ、ストーリーだけじゃなくて解説のところもね、字幕つけてくれればよかったんだけど。左に見えたな。どうやって行くんだろう。今のところ昼とか明るい時間帯ばっかりだよね。なんか普通にサバイバルしていくのかと思ったんだけど、全然お腹すきすき要素とかもないっぽいしな。ここか。おおおおお。よいしょよいしょよいしょ。あ、落ちちゃった。いやだ。よし。オッケー。細い道進める。行き止まりこれ。左に道ある？あるね。よしよし。はい。で、こう登れはする。登れるが向こうが行けるわけでもなし。お、また隙間だ。おうおうおうおう。あ、飛ぶのか。わかりづらい。せーの。で、オッケー。光はどこに行った？わしが行きたかった。見えねえ。下にある。あ、これなんかちょっと違う光だな。3分の1。これはあと2個見つけなきゃいけない。マジで？あ、わかんないってどこ行けばいいか。結構もうすでにわからん。岩や草木だらけ。よし。光があそこにあるね。でもあそこ別に道ってわけじゃないの。これ取ってきた道だっけ？迷子になる。これは単発かな。最後までできる自信がないわ。これ多分入ってきた道だよね。知らんけど。これ普通に迷子にならない？ 見た時に光がないと。マジか。マジか。木か。狐の子かと思っちゃった。くそー。ピアノなんてこんなところ置いといといやいやいやいやいや。暑い。すごく暑い。右行ってみようかな、でも。もうどんなところから始まったのかすら覚えてない。行き止まりじゃんっていうか、右に行こうとかそういう問題じゃなかったわ。森の中から始まったんだよな、出てきたの。何もいなさすぎじゃない？ここなんか道があるみたいな。春は行き止まりなんだよな。かわいい。可愛くない？スクショしとこう。わからんな。
アップだ。
きつねちゃんかわいいわ。でもこれさっきわしが通ってた道じゃないのかなとか思っちゃうんだけど、光の筋なんて、これあれさっきわしが行こうとしてた光じゃない？でも結局分かんなかったよね。迷子に迷って。迷子に迷ってってどういうこと？あの光の筋は何なの？また戻ってきてしまった。結局光に導かれて。同じ辿ってる気がするよね。そこ通れる。そこ、あの光が気になる。だな、こっから行ったな。行った記憶あるの？来た。こう来たことあるわ。もう上なんだけど
迷子感ありますね。
やばいよね。ちょっとヒント少なすぎない？どこ行けばいいか。なかなかに街中とかだったらさ、わかりやすいんだけどさ、森って結構迷子だよね。あと光ってるところってないの？あっちの奥に見える。大切なやつもあるね。
同じような景色だとなおさらですね。
メイビングモットーって見たことない？戻ってきてよ。でもあっち側にも光見えるな。 の光は何なの？光が続いてる。お墓だ。ここは来たことない。あった。進んだ。いや、綺麗ですね、ここ。あ、来た。ほい。あれ、おいしょ。あれ、丸ボタンでつかめないんですね。あれ、これつかめるんじゃないの？
これがザマウンテンですか？
わからん。
Even at my most distant, at the times when I detested him the
もう思い
most,
しかないとそう思うよな。
he kept reaching out. For a year straight, he asked me every week when we were going camping. I thought he was just dense. Eventually, to shut him up, I agreed. We carried out the worn lawn chairs from the garage and set up a cinder block campfire at the site we'd always used behind the house. We walked down the mountain path, talking in the warm sunshine we only got a couple months of the year. Those 3 obsidian rocks shimmered alongside the shore, almost like sparklers pressed against a dark window. I'll never forget that wet stone on my feet, or how those massive mountains looked even bigger in the lake's reflection. I felt small, but grateful. As the sun set, my dad found something I hadn't seen for a long time. The tree where I'd made my first carving when I was 6. I hadn't even carved it. My dad had helped me, but I still called it my tree. Something about seeing my name there made me open up, and we talked about everything that night in that old camouflage tent. I told him how much I love sketching and design, and how it would be a dream to study architecture in Seattle. I told him how I didn't get along with my friends much anymore, but that I didn't mind being alone. He told me he was there for me, and he joked that if all he had to do was write my name on a tree to finally get me to talk, he would have left me carved logs with novels on them in front of my room every morning. I don't know why it took me that long to realize it, but it was then I knew how much he had sacrificed for me. I don't think the first tree could work at all without the music by Josh Kramer. And his music, it's actually publicly available to license, and so it was affordable for me since this was a hobby project. And it's something I like to tell new indie developers all the time, like, you can't afford that composer, you can't afford a full-time programmer. You need to cut corners and finish your game, and the way to do that is to use these amazing publicly available assets that anyone can purchase and license. And so his music is incredible, and I actually haven't talked to him that much, I've just emailed him. But his music was nominated for Most Emotional Music at the Emotional Game Awards in France, and he's just a really nice guy. And I think there's so much amazing content out there that if you're thinking of making a game, like, look around and see what you can make work on a tight budget, because it worked really well for the first tree. On our property, there were old abandoned pieces of a shed and car long left unused. I used to ask him all the time who those people were that left all this junk. And I'm sure he got so tired of hearing it that he made up some elaborate stories how a brown bear ate them and haunted the woods afterwards. What's funny is I think it made those people seem more real. Growing up thinking they were still hanging out like they couldn't say goodbye. I used to tell my friends how I could swear I saw spirits move near the water, and that always freaked them out. I guess it didn't bother me, because the way I saw it, they were normal people with old cars and sheds, just trying to figure out how to survive and be happy in the middle of nowhere. It was a cool thought that they didn't want to leave, but you know, I was a weird kid.
Well, you had good company since those ghosts like living in a place where they were brutally devoured.
Almost all stories follow the same kind of structure. And it starts with an inciting event, and then there's rising action, and then there's a climax, and then there's falling action. And it's actually really difficult to make an interesting story where you only hear these two people talking, and it's spoken through a dream that's already happened. And the most of the action is about this animal that isn't directly related to this couple at all. So I don't know what I was thinking, but my hope was that it would create some interesting things and connections that I didn't see before. And that was kind of the whole exercise of making the first tree.
どうだ？そういうわけでもない。
喋ってるの待ってるかもですね。
そういうわけでもない。あれなんでできないんだ？ヘルプミー。危ない危ない。光の玉ちょうだい。あ、来た。音声認識システムだったわ。あそこの光に行けばいいのか？見える遠くに。よし、行こう。あそこの光目指して。レッツラポン。光が見えない。あ、見えた。見えづらいな。なんか落ちてる。これは何これ。わからん。よいしょ。お、光の玉じゃん。ブルースターズ。光ってるこれ。解説が光ってたの。あ、でも。
I don't think the first tree could work at all without the music by Josh Kramer. And his music is actually publicly available to license, and so it was affordable for me since this was a hobby project. And it's something I like to tell new indie developers and programmer. You need to cut corners and finish your game, and the way to do that is to use these amazing publicly available assets that anyone can purchase and license. And so his music is incredible, and I actually haven't talked to him that much. I've just emailed him. But his music was nominated for Most Emotional Music at the Emotional Game Awards in France, and he's just a really nice guy. And I think there's so much amazing content out there that if you're thinking of making a game, like, look around and see what you can make work on a tight budget, because it worked really well for the first tree.
The perpetrator stood nearby, unfazed, like nothing was wrong. My dad is dead. And he's never coming back, Rachel. I can tell you these stories, but I can never reminisce with him again. He can never hold a grandchild that we'll probably never be able to have. I can never talk to him again, and I'll never be able to say I'm sorry for everything.
It was really important to me that the wolf in this story that takes the fox's cubs, that it wasn't explained at all. Like, it's just this entity that's in the background. And of course, it's supposed to represent something bigger than a wolf or even the fox. It's supposed to represent, like, the specter of death. And it doesn't, it comes when you least expect it. There's no justification. He's just there, always watching.
多分これである程度進んだらもうすごいカメラの動きすんな。暗くなって終わりだと思うんだけど、それともその先まで進むのか。 が生えてきた。疲れたずっと押しててなんだ、光もなければ狼もいなくなったし、そこに光の筋あるね。遠いなめちゃくちゃ走らされるね、このゲーム。
マップ広いですね。
ねえ、なんかいろいろこの星のかけらとかさ、探すのめちゃくちゃめんどくさそうだよね。よいしょ。で
I need to go to bed.
もう寝なきゃ。このことを話すのももう辛いんだ。おやすみ。おやすみなさい。
Good night.
電話してたのかな、女の人と。暗くなってってる、これ。合ってない。どこ行けばいいの？光も見えないし。山、雲、変な空。あ、なったなったなったなった。めっちゃ綺麗。単発にしようと思ったけど明日もやろうかな。めっちゃ綺麗。めっちゃ綺麗。めっちゃ綺麗なんだけど。
Joseph, you can't go to sleep feeling like this.
この状態で終わっちゃっていいのかな。
I'm sorry for everything, and I know you need space, but I'm here for you. You don't need to feel so lost.
やっちゃえ。
Joseph, have I ever told you what my mother was like?
Hello, my name is Elise Whaley, and I was the voice actress for Rachel. I'm also David's wife. So that was convenient for working together. I was actually the voice actress for his first game, Home is Where One Starts, and I guess that I did a good enough job that David wanted me back, so I did the voice acting for this one as well. David definitely coached me through it because I'm pretty inexperienced when it comes to that. Home is Where One Starts was my first time ever doing voice acting of any kind. And we watched a lot of trailers of movies we liked to get the voice right of female leads who were talking in the trailer and try to mimic that and bring that into the game. So that had the right kind of feel and the right kind of atmosphere for the voice. My character actually is the same character from Home is Where One Starts. If you've played that game, you probably connected that together. And this is her probably about 15 years later, maybe 20 years later in this game. I was happy to revisit the character of Rachel. We kind of leave her in an ambiguous spot in Home is Where One Starts. It definitely ends on a hopeful note, but there's not a lot of details. And in this game, you see that she's able to move on through a lot of her issues that she had from her abusive home and be able to start her own family and start a new cycle without that abuse, which I think is really inspiring.
You know what it's like not to have a mom at home. And you know how hard that made my childhood. What helped me was watching the birds in the morning before the school bus came. I thought that my mother was one of those birds, and it made me want to be free like her. My mom taught me how to fold origami cranes while she was in the hospital. So I told myself I would fold one every day until I could fly myself. I think we both have always loved animals, and for me that love started with a dog. Sometimes this Rottweiler would come up to our property line and wait at the fence for me, but only once in a while. I was sure to check every day immediately after school, and it usually ended in disappointment. I would even steal money from my passed-out dad just so I could buy these off-brand dog biscuits. Even when she did stop by, she never went beyond the fence. Why was she so scared? I think my dad was the opposite of your dad in almost every way, except he was in the military as well. He coped with alcohol of every kind. The trailer started falling apart, he got angry, and I withdrew. More and more I became the weird, quiet kid. Birds and carried dog biscuits around. I think we were pretty similar when it came to being the weird kids. And that same sincerity in college was one of the reasons I was so drawn to you. Life got worse and worse. And at one point, I really didn't think I could survive another day with my soul still intact. I had no real friends, let alone neighbors, since we lived in the middle of nowhere. I should have talked to my teacher, but I was scared what he would do if he found out. As I waited for the school bus one morning, I walked around until I found something in an abandoned shed. Something I can't put into words. I summoned courage I didn't know I had, and I broke into my dad's room and found the key to the shed where he had locked my bike. I'll never forget that feeling. The wind rushing by my ears as the sun rose over fields of wheat. I was flying for the first time. I biked as far as my legs could take me until I found a house that felt friendly and that felt like home. Those strangers helped me in so many ways. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have found my foster family. And if it wasn't for my parents, I wouldn't have met you. You have strength, Joseph, and you're not as alone as you think.
It's all just so pointless. Just waiting for life to happen. It's like having the home I always wanted is cursed out of my reach. The thought of being a parent myself. How could I do that when I couldn't even be a good son? I'm sorry. I know what you're saying. I just don't know how things will work out. These quiet hours will turn into years. We'll wonder which roads passed us by.
Then we'll forge a new road together. Besides, I discovered for myself that one fateful morning where any hopeful road leads to. There may be thorns and mist, but it always leads to the same thing.
And what's that?
Family.
I'm so glad that you're part of my family, Rachel.
And I'm glad you're part of mine.
こんばんは。やっと来れた。
ラマスさんいらっしゃい。今すごいいいシーンが終わった。シカちゃんめっちゃ目でビクビクするやん。何聞いてんのそんなに。おお。めっちゃシカちゃん。この中で何すればいいの？ファミリーってこと？ファミリーってことを表してるんですか？どうしようかな。9時だし、いいセリフも終わったし、ここで一旦終わろうかな、今日は。単発にしようと思ったけど、結構今のシーン気に入ったから明日もやるわ。明日の8時からまたこの続きやっていくです。一応これがすぐ終わっちゃってもまた次にやるものも決まってるからね。それじゃあ今日はおつぱかでした。おつぱか
おつぱか。
あ、この後
わかりました。
ツイッターでまた
今来たけど、
ツイートするけど、
おつぱかー。
私のディスコードの作業
おつぱかー。
作業するから、
おつぱかー。
暇な人はよかったら見てね。
おつぱかー。
おつ